Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this lesson we are going to talk about the Flutter file structure, and we'll give you some basic introduction about Flutter widget. And also I will show you how you can connect your emulator we have been set up for the last lesson, and how we can connect the emulator with our coding environments such as the Visual Studio Code. So here you can see I have listed out all the topic we will going to cover in this video. So for the basic widget, I will going to talk about the material widget and scaffold widget, and also we'll be talking about container, a sensor, and test widget. Don't worry, I will give you more detail in the coming lesson for those three widgets, since it will be most common used in the Flutter. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. Before diving to today's lecture, we actually left something from last lesson. So in the last lesson, we only set up our iOS emulator. So we still need some steps to configure the iOS emulator so it can connect with our Visual Studio Code coding environment. And here you can see we have already finished the first step, and then we need to finish the step 2 and step 3. So just copy the command and open your terminal and hit enter. And also for step 3, you just copy the commit and hit enter. So you just need to read those agreements and type agree, right? And you hit enter. So okay, we finished the setup part. So then we go to today's agenda. So the first command we need to run is Flutter doctor. So open our terminal and type the Flutter doctor. So what this command does is it will to check to see if you missing any dependence for this entire setup. We just wait a few seconds. So as you can see, we have one exclamation point, right? So it says the Android license state is unknown. So how can solve this problem is we just copy this line of code and paste it here. So we hit enter. Okay, so we got another exception, right? So how to solve this? You just open your Android Studio, and here the config. So you just check this SDK management. So the SDK, right? This SDK, and go to SDK tool in the right panel. So you need to click this one, Android SDK command line tool. So you click this one and hit OK. Just wait for a few minutes, you will finish, right? So you just finish and you go back to your terminal, and you can click the console and just run this command again. And you just call yes. Okay, after we finish the agreement of Android license, so this time we run Flutter doctor again. So this time just wait for a few minutes. Okay, you see this time we didn't get any exclamation point, right? So we congratulations. So next I'm going to teach you how you can create your first Flutter project. So here this tilde means I'm in my home root. So here I want to go to my desktop folder, right? It will be my desktop. I use cd command to go to my desktop folder, and then I run this command. I will create my first Flutter app. So as you see, we can in last lesson we already set up our Flutter tool to be global usage. So in here I just type Flutter version. So I can see my current Flutter version and also my currently Dart version. And I can use the Flutter create this command to create my first application, right? So you need to aware. So if you have multiple words, you cannot use like a dash here. You must using the underscore to connect to multiple words, right? So here I would like to create our first application by run this command. Just wait a few minutes. Okay, you see it's now create. So what we are going to do is we can open our Visual Studio Code. So we can open the folder. So in here, so the folder we've been create is under this desktop and will be the first application. So we open here. Okay, you see, and so this would be our first Flutter application. So next I'm going to give you a quick introduction about those file structure in the Flutter. So the first folder would be dap2o, and those we didn't use that one. And this folder will be just deal with the Dart SDK, and the idea folder will be created by Android Studio. It's not, we don't care about this folder as well. So the Android folder will be contains the Android native code as I mentioned here, and also here is the iOS folder would be also contain the native iOS code. So since the Flutter support multiple platform, so underneath the Flutter SDK will convert our code into native platform specific code, right? So the next one will be the lab folder. We will write all our code in the lab folder. And next one will be the text folder. So you can write some unit text in here. And the next one will be the web folder. So since Flutter to support the web, so you can also use Flutter to create your website. Don't worry, I will talk the Flutter web in the future lesson. And then another important file we need to care about is this pubspecie.yam file. So this file would be it contains lots of like a package we need to maintain. So it's just a dependency management tool, right? So in this dependency, this line, so you can import your custom like a package from the pub.dev. So here is a open. Here is a open library from Flutter, right? So you can search any kind of library you want to use to coordinate with your Flutter application. So it's called pub.dev. So after, so for example, if you just if you want to using the provider list package, so you can go to the install. So you just paste this line of code and in here, right? So in here, so keep the same indentation like in here, the Flutter, and here's provider, the same indentation. Then you just to run this line of command, the Flutter pub-get. After you run the Flutter pub-get, so those dependencies will be installed into your Flutter project, and you can use the package to integrate with your existing app. But no worry, we're going to talk about those in more detail in the future's lesson. So we just focus on this main.dart. Okay, we finished the introduction for Flutter file structure, and the next one I'm going to teach you how you can connect your Visual Studio Code with your emulator. So in here, just open your Xcode, and in Xcode, go to the Open Developer tool and open the simulator. So in order to connect your iOS emulator with this Android Studio, as you can see here, since I already configured, so when my emulator start, so it will automatically connect to my existing Flutter project. So the basic configuration you need to do is open your Xcode and go to the preferences. Go to the preferences, and in this location and in this command line tool, so you need to select Xcode and with a version larger than 10 is okay. So here my version would be 12.5, right? So as long as it's greater than version 10, it will be fine. So after you configure something like this, you will see your VSCode can connect to your iOS emulator right here. You can see here. Okay, so we just close this iOS emulator, and so for Android, so you open the Android Studio and you go to the config and choose the AVD manager. So in here, so as I showed you in the last lesson, we have already created this Pixel for API 30, this Android emulator. So we just hit run. Just wait few minutes, your Android emulator will be boot up. So in this course, I will going to use the Android emulator. So since it will be workable in iOS as well as the Windows. And we go back to the Visual Studio Code, and you can see here it connect with our Android emulator, as you can see here. So how to run your application in this Android emulator. So in here, in the main.dar, as you can see, here is our main entrance point, right? You can see here there are two run icon and this debug icon. So the run icon will be run your application in this Android emulator. So we just click this run. So the debug means you run the application in the debug mode. So it will be easy for you to debug this application because you can set up the breakpoint. So you can stop the application in the breakpoint. Then you can analyze the code. So we just need to wait a few minutes. So the first time it will take long because the Flutter need to build this APK and install the APK into your emulator. But if the second time will be much quicker than the first time. And also Flutter by default provide the hot reload. So when you start your application, so every time you change your code, so you don't need to restart the application again. It will automatically refresh in your application. Okay, finally we got our application run up. So before we dive into the source code from this main.dar, so first I'm going to talk something about the widget tree, right? So the widget in Flutter has two types. The first type would be stateless widget, and another type would be stateful widget. So stateful widget will mainly just maintain the current state of your widget, and the stateless widget, so by name, it don't maintain any state. So we will be talking about the state management in Flutter in the future video. So just remember, so every widget in Flutter either by stateless widget or stateful widget. So and also in the Flutter application, so you can treat this whole UI as a one widget tree. So on the top widget will be your my app. So in case that's just like this one, my app. So my app will be your first widget. So inside this my app, you see we have different widgets. So we can see in here inside this my app, we have a MaterialApp widget. So inside this material app widget, we have a my homepage widget, right? Inside this my homepage widget, and we have this scaffold widget. So inside this scaffold widget, we have the center widget. So you can see it actually built this whole widget tree, right? Okay, so next, I'm going to talk about the material app, right? In here, material app widget. So as you can see here, after the my app, so my app actually extends the status widget. So it means it doesn't maintain any state. So in this class. So however, you will see something like this stateful widget. My homepage will be a stateful widget. So in this stateful widget, it actually maintains its own state. So in this example, would be the count variable. So every time you edit this floating button, the counter will be increased, and this application will remember it is it is state. So every time when you increase, you will be when you click this button, it will be increased just by calling this setState method. Don't worry, I will give you another video talking about this stateful widget. So here I just delete all the stateful widget because in this lesson we are not going to talk about the stateful widget, and we're also not going to use this sim attribute. So we only have this material widget, and we follow the same structure like this. We have a material app widget, and inside the material app I have a center widget. So I have a center widget. So inside this center widget I have a child, and it's a test widget. So it's a test widget. So inside the text widget, I have this hello Flutter. So when I save, so you can see here, so it's exactly the same in this picture, right? So what is material app? So material app just some widget follow the material design principle, and when you use it, you need to implement this material package from the Flutter SDK. So it gives you the full access to all the other material components and the widget provided by Flutter SDK. So as you see here, this website shows some material components which are implemented by Flutter SDK. As you can see here, you can see we have some app structure and navigation widget, and we also have the buttons widget, and we also have input and selection widget, and we have a dialog, alerts, and panel widget. So there are lots of widgets, and we will be talking those in more detail in the future lesson. So now you have a understanding of what is materials app. So next I'm going to talk about the scaffold. So what's scaffold? Scaffold are just a widget which can provide a framework to implement the basic material design layout of the application. So you need to place this scaffold inside these material apps. So as you can see here, we have everything is black, right? So we can wrap this center widget inside the scaffold, and this will be the body property of this. So when I type save, you can see now we have this material design layout. So and with our text in the center, right? And in material in the scaffold widget, so scaffold widget will occupy the entire screen. So you see here, you are now like as the before only have the black screen. So we have the scaffold white occupy the entire screen, and also scaffold widget have some attributes So such as the drawer, app bars, button navigation bar, and floating action button. So when you move your mouse to the scaffold widget, so you can see there are lots of attributes. So remember in that tutorial we are talking if this will be the class, scaffold class, and this will be the name parameter, because those parameter are inside this curly bracket, right? So these are called named parameter. So we just so for example, one give the application an app bar. So I just in here I specify the name, and I need to pass this app bar, right? So when I save it, you can see now we have a app bar. So by default it will be a blue color. So and the app bar by default also have its own attribute, right? For example, like leading, title, and action. So leading will be the first icon shown in the app bar, and the title would be by default in the center of this app bar, and the action will be something like search or like a login or some button you can actually click, right? So when you move your mouse in this app bar, so you can see it also provides some like attribute, for example the leading. So I just type leading, and I will give some icon and icons I can use like a menu. So you save it, so you can see here you have shown this icon, right? And you can also give it is a title attribute, like first Flutter. Oh, sorry, it should be a widget because you move your mouse. This parameter actually accept a widget, so you need something like this, right? So when you save, you will see here will be a Flutter app. So by default it's not going in the center, so you can using the center widget to wrap these, and you just save. You'll see now it's in the center of the rest, right? It's in the center of the rest. And you can also give like actions. So in here I will also give like icons, but would be something like settings, right? So when I save it, and you will see here will be a save icon here, and actually in the setting I can pass some list of widget, and also I can make it like a clickable, just wrap in like a inkwell widget. So in inkwell we have like a on tap method, so I can on tap and just make this one clickable, right? So I can implement the on tap and make this button clickable. So and this will be our app bar. So next, so the scaffold also provides like a button navigation bar and also floating action button. And another attribute we're using them often would be this body. So the body will just means anything inside this one. So here I just place this center widget and with its child test, right? So if we didn't place the center widget, so when I save, so you see this one will be in here, right? So the center widget you will center it horizontally as well as the vertically, right? So the center widget, and we can also use like the text can also be style for just using the style property. So you can specify the style, test style style. So in the text style widget, when you move your mouse, you can see there are lots of name parameters. You can either pass the color, pass the font size, font weight. For example, I give the color would be color star green, would be give you a green color. So when you move your mouse, you see the color would be accept these colors. So the font will be changed to green. And no worry, don't worry, this video just give you a quick introduction for those basic widgets. So for those each widget, I will give a more detailed video. So how to use it, what's the property inside it, and how to use it. And I will also give a real life demo project and walk through and give you a more like understanding for those concepts. And I think that's all for today's video. So we have built out our first Flutter project, and in the next coming lesson I will talk more in detail about those most common used one. For example, it would be like a container and also the center and the text widget. Okay, thank you for watching. So please subscribe my channel if you like my content, and I will keep upload the video every week. Okay, I hope I can see you in next video. Thank you for watching.